Hour. This is the Homeland Security hearing that's now getting underway in Washington, D.C. The mayor from New York is there. The police commissioner, Ray Kelly, is there as well. We expect to hear more about the botched bombing in Times Square on Saturday night, so we're keeping a very close eye on this. If you want to watch the questions right now and some of the answers, head to our website, foxnews.com, but we'll monitor for any relevant comments from the mayor and the police commissioner right here. We'll bring that to you when it happens there on the air.
This is kind of rare. The NBA Phoenix Suns have decided to wear their political beliefs on their backs. The Suns announcing they're switching to alternative jerseys, not the ones they normally wear for their home playoff game against San Antonio, the Spurs today. The uniform identifies the team as Los Suns, a statement protesting the recent Arizona law allowing police to question an individual's legal status. Steve Kerr, the team's owner, says the law was well intended, but not the right way to go about solving the state's immigration problems. And that's how they're making their opinion heard.
New wrinkle there. We'll watch that later tonight. In the meantime, we've got this New York Times poll that shows a majority of Americans say that bill is, quote, about right. 11% think it doesn't go far enough. How does this play in politics? Fair and balanced debate right now. Radio talk show host David Webb supports the law in Arizona. Mark Levine thinks Republicans will pay a price for it. How are you, gentlemen, and good morning to you.
Good morning.
David, here's what the New York Times poll found. 69% of respondents from the South think it's about right or did not go far enough. 66% from the Midwest said about the same thing. How does this play?
Well, for the Midwest, it plays, obviously, that the immigration issue got there later. In the border states, it's been there for decades. For the GOP, the immediate gains are going to level off, Bill. There'll be some gains that will have a residual effect, and then it's in the hands of the GOP. And my advice to them is, on the state and federal level, do this incrementally. Work with border security, work with employers, targeting the employers who are hiring illegals, and then work on the issues of getting rid of the felons by deportation or incarceration. That's where the GOP continues to win on this issue.
So you think they chip away at it slowly, and maybe Arizona's the first chip on that block? Do I hear that correctly?
Yes.
All right, okay, let me move to Mark on that. Sound fair? Sound reasonable, Mark?
Well, that sounds reasonable, but this bill is a ticking time bomb for Republicans. It may have a short-term political gain. It is a long-term political nightmare. All you have to do is remember what happened in California in 1994. Republicans pushed Proposition 187, and Latinos got the message that they were unwelcome in the Republican Party. They took a state that was Ronald Reagan's state, a moderate Republican state, and turned it, well, reliably blue for a generation. Latinos know this is a law aimed at them. They know it's a law that's going to be declared unconstitutional anyway. It was a political law aimed at them, and they're going to be even more democratic
Okay,
in the future.
what about that point, Dave? And when you reflect on that, whether it's Arizona or New Mexico, think about Colorado or Nevada. Long term, does it hurt?
Long term, I don't think it does. And Mark's got a point about what happened back in the 90s. I was living in Texas then. I saw it firsthand in Texas. But there's a different issue right now, and there are different people behind this. Independents. 50% of independents are behind this law. This is no longer just Republican and Democrat. And Mark, you can't determine the end before you know the facts. What we've got right now is a country that for a majority approves of this, and the federal government hasn't done anything. The states are now seeing the downturn as a result of illegal immigration, as far as New Jersey, which, by the way, has about 400,000 there.
Here is what the Times polling found with regard to that point, David. When it came to independents, independents now side with Republicans. In that survey, 51% of independents support the law, 10% more say it doesn't go far enough. Mark, should the debate be about the independent vote, or should it be about Hispanics?
I think it has to be about Hispanics. One of the things I learned when I worked in Congress is there's a difference between favoring something and strongly favoring something. I learned, for example, working in Congress on gun control. The vast majority of Americans believe that a violent felon, a mentally ill person, shouldn't have a right to own a gun. It's a very small minority, 10 or 20%, that really think that these people should get guns, but they feel so extremely strongly. It's why Democrats fear any kind of gun control. The same is true here. A small majority of Americans may favor this law, but Latinos feel it very strongly opposed to it, and the white voters may vote for other reasons.
Yeah,
Latino voters will
what
vote on
about
this.
the Latinos who support it? They say, hey, I followed the law, I did the right thing, I came through the front door, not the back door.
Well, I don't know many Latinos that support it, because what this law would have done, it's going to be declared unconstitutional, but what this law would have done is would have said, for example, if you got a child walking to school in the morning, 15 years old, Latino-American citizen, could be stopped by police. Parents don't want their children to be stopped and asked to be shown their papers.
Let me get David
even if
weigh
they're
in
here
one
legally.
last thought. I'm almost out of time. David, last thought?
My last thought is, Mark, you're always wrong on this issue. They're not going to stop a 15-year-old kid or somebody on his way to the ice cream store. They have already reinforced the language to go against that very thought. You have to be engaged in other activity that is lawful, and that's where it starts. Stop spreading false rumors. The facts matter.
David,
They
thank
did
you.
modify the law.
Mark, thank
okay.
you.
No time.
In the bottom right-hand corner, by the way, while the gentlemen were talking, that was the Homeland Security Committee meeting on the Hill. So we're keeping a close eye on that, too, as it moves through Washington today. As far as this debate, gentlemen, thank you. David and Mark, appreciate your time. Jamie, what's coming up?
Well,